Tell Robin about your experience with that.
Where's she going to
Mr.
bake
Hellman
it?
and the
She
camp
bakes it in her apartment.
in New York,
Oh, she's done
She's
this
put that on the mind.
getting on the subway and him saying,
Bake.
Amy and Stephanie
Well, why
boarding the
maybe
subway
this-
in New York. But I mean, you couldn't have forgotten
She
that.
can't bake over here all the time.
But maybe her own stove is good then.
Paula, show us your cake.
Stove.
Joseph's enjoying it. Well, you went through that one, huh?
In this too.
Show us the inside. Oh, looks good.
The outside, the inside.
Put me a piece out there, Paul, small piece.
Oh.
We're going to do an oral
Does the
history
baby
tonight.
like this to give a taste of the whipped cream?
She probably likes some of the cake.
Want some more of that?
It might be a little big, Dad, but you can see what you want.
Paul, is this recipe different than any others, or just turned out so good?
Just turned out.
Was
so
that good, baby?
But is it
It's
just
One
a
more?
regular recipe?
No, I don't think he's got a sweet tooth.
Yeah. you
Where
know.
is the baby
I mean, I
sleeping?
pureed the
In the
strawberries,
bedroom over
put that
here?
on
No,
there.
it's with Mom and Dad.
And I did the whipped cream, and I just folded chopped strawberries in with it, put that on there.
Is that part
Mom
of the
had thrown out
recipe?
the little
Don't
soup.
expect that.
But I used to do that in my cakes in
Nice little
Boston.
fart there, I could feel it.
She has salt.
Now we can't show this to. Now we can't show this to the Sussinghams.
Green Marnier.
What?
Now we can't show this to the Sussinghams because he just ruined it.
Oh, did you say
It
something?
looked yellowish, I thought.
Here, Dad, this is yours.
Somebody got
I made it
something
light
dirty in
Chris's folks haven't heard that
You
word.
passed a little air.
We just
there.
don't
Threw it out,
obsess on it like the
put it in
clowns.
Where's my,
Get
That's where it
Steph on that
is. Chris, you put
subject.
that over there, Dad.
has it, uh-oh. Did you have one?
Paul Trone wins farting contest.
Remember that newspaper?
You have a little cup.
Yes, and I got that for a present.
I could get it. Everybody does.
Paula Trone wins farting contest.
Do you want
Jeez, I
See
never
what I mean,
said that
Sam?
word before.
I mean, if you
Do your road trip.
And my
Yeah,
mother
do your road
never
trip.
said that word.
Robin, you gotta get that on camera. Robin, stand up and do it.
I don't want that on camera.
Thank you, no.
What's the matter,
What
Liz?
kind of a camera is that?
It's a Sony.
It's a Sony. It's like a
Sony.
Moving picture camera.
It's a Japanese Sony.
Baby, drop your
Where'd they
He looks
go?
like Dreyfus on that show. The way he's
Rolling,
laying there, he
rolling,
looks like
rolling.
Dreyfus
Oh,
on
my
that.
ass is
Oh,
rolling.
Yeah. I know. I love that dog. And he does the same thing.
You want another piece? Do you
Usually
have another piece?
Yeah, you just talk to me and
He
I.
was laying down like
Oh, that
this, you know,
records
nothing
voices?
interested him until he heard that she
You've been
said she
recording.
had, she went to bed with him.
What I want to do is an oral family history.
okay.
Well,
Starting yesterday.
No, starting with this weekend when Steffi had the horrible case of gas and had to go.
It was intestinal. It did not come out.
Okay, now we have that cleared up. No, I want to talk about
Yes.
the great grandparents.
It's too bad we know so little about them.
You don't know anything?
Well, we know a
Well,
little.
Well, start with
talking about the great
I say. but
start
we
with
know
what
so
you
little.
know about them.
What you mean about Mom and Papa?
And before that,
Do you know about your grandparents?
well, I had a Zadie,
Oh,
Z-A-Y-D-E.
but that was also BB's saying.
And mine also.
Right, and Mom said, what did you say to me a few weeks ago? The most horrible thing happened, I couldn't imagine what it was when she was a child, was when you had to share them with somebody else, you told me.
Her most terrible thing
Yes.
was when she used to share my candy, except that she would take 9/10 of
What
it.
about Aunt
Okay.
Ruslan? What they
It was serious
actually
at the
did
time.
in Russia?
Yes, that stuff. That's
Nobody wants to know.
Where in Russia are they from?
Well, I
No,
knew
Of
about
course,
that.
but who knows?
Robin.
Just outside of
Well, they
Kiev.
lived in a little tiny village, I think.
Didn't they all?
Go ahead, Aunt Ty,
Some
what were you
people
saying?
lived in big cities and got educated. Our folks lived like in the country.
Tell them about Uncle
in
Ben
that
with
period,
the short
Robin,
rope and the horse.
there wasn't really a government like ours with the state, but there was a duke that perhaps owned all this land that the peasants lived on,
He
and they
drive
were
a black Cadillac. Dark glasses.
that's Karen,
Uh-huh.
the black Cadillac,
Yep,
the mafia black.
that's the Duke.
And our grandfather made cigars for him,
Oh,
Is
right?
she
well,
recording this?
this
For the
is
Duke.
that's interesting.
For
for anybody who wanted to buy it.
What,
He,
were you there?
he made cigars for this Duke, and because of that, he was allowed, or he, with some of the extra tobacco, he sold that to people.
I never heard that
I
story.
never heard that.
Duke, he
What do
started
you
that for
think? You
you.
think he was in business?
Yeah.
You think he was a?
He had a store, right? With a grand marquee up on it.
He went to Dallas.
You mean
to
a
the show.
tobacconist?
Okay,
Yes.
I mean, it was a bar
They were
peasant
allowed,
man.
wait a minute,
Ma,
they were, what?
Ma, it said Optimo cigar on the front.
Right.
It'd be made in Cuba.
all right, so he
Just
made
a
the
minute,
tobacco for,
Wait a minute,
so then what happened?
wait a minute, Robin. They were allowed, he was allowed only to have a certain amount of cigars in his, to manufacture.
Because that's what the Duke allowed him.
Evidently, that was the law. And my mother was a little girl, and when they heard some officer was coming, she used to take the surplus cigars, run in the back, and hide them in an outhouse or something like that. That is the story that Mama told
Well,
us.
yes, because it was illegal for him to sell the cigars, but he did get a little extra tobacco because he made them for the Duke. That was allowed.
That I never
That was
heard.
allowed.
But that's a good story.
So where was this, in Russia?
Where is your family?
Well,
Well, it's sort of a-
Lithuania,
We're
I
doing
guess.
this one,
Ireland?
huh?
I guess it was Lithuania. I really don't know.
Let's do this. So then, who came over to this country?
You never
I
asked?
think they were called Litvaks at that time.
Oh, so it's really
And you know, the
They
funny
still
thing
are.
is that people from one section look down on Jews in another section. Like the Jews that were Litvaks looked down at the Glitziana. They were from,
I mean, a little meter, the icing, I mean,
from
a little
Romania. There was a really, a very much of a class
But I don't know where I'm gonna do it
distinction.
because I don't know.
Now,
I've got a restaurant and I've got
what would that
I can't
be?
Phil, once I do it with the whipped cream, I
his
can't
mother
retain it.
came from
I don't know
Ireland.
what's happening.
That was part of
You know,
Germany. And they thought they were kind of superior.
Thank you.
How did she know that?
And
I was gonna say,
Everybody thought they were superior.
and you tasted it, so.
Everybody.
Thought that your grandparents were superior, or
No,
thought that
they
they
thought
themselves?
themselves were
So what will you
superior.
do, decorate it up there?
I have to, unless.
But you know,
she's having it
the
in her house, she's
unusual
not here.
thing
Where
is
is she gonna eat?
that
We're going
people
up to
that
the,
came from there, the poorest kind of
Yeah.
background, when they came here, they had such exquisite
Not
taste
the other
in clothes and
But
in
just work.
decorating, and the love of art
They
and
don't go to
music.
Well, who came over here? Your grandparents or your?
All right,
Father and
Rob.
mother.
Way up Florida Avenue. Way up.
My
You know, way
mother's
up there,
brother, which would be your
on one side, way up there.
great uncle, I
Like
You're not
guess.
gonna, you're not gonna hear this, Robin, with Paul.
He came over. His name was
Never
William.
been there?
He made cigars. He was in the cigar business. He came
You don't
here.
think you can carry?
And of course, they didn't hear from him for a very
have to
long
take it.
time.
I have to take
And
it
they were very worried, and there was somehow they
to
got
the last
word
part there.
Paula?
that somebody in a distant
He
town
was in the camps.
had some news of him.
Sister, the mother was camps.
But there was,
going to be a luau.
there was
out
a,
there,
there was a
for
gypsy
barbecue.
who told, I guess it would be our grandmother, that they would hear from this William. But in hearing it, there would be a tragedy. And when they heard that somebody had heard from William, or knew somebody who knew him in America, the sister, my mother's sister, went to find out. Is that right?
I never
What
heard
this-
that story.
What the,
See, no, wait a
oh,
minute.
wait, then let me
Wait,
finish.
wait,
Let me
no,
finish the
just let
story,
me-
then you'll
just-
see.
No,
if it-
just let me tell you this, that all of the children, we were 5 children, we came at different parts, time in our parents' lives. And
Naturally.
each one, huh?
Naturally.
Yes, and each one has a different story because they knew our parents at different times. Isn't that so? That would be in your family
But that has
also.
nothing to do
Yeah, but I
with
mean,
what happened
one
in
thing
Russia.
happened. I mean,
All right, so the sister started out to go to this neighboring town to talk to the people who had heard from William. And she got a cold, pneumonia, whatever. She died.
Oh, she was the one.
She died. They got the news, that he was safe and everything. But in hearing this, she died. And because of that, my mother would never have let anybody have their fortune told. Do you remember that part? That she was superstitious about it.
No, I used to go to a fortune teller in Sanford with a friend of mine, with Anna Cherniak. And one day,
I can't
With
believe
who?
it.
Why not?
she would tell me the fortune, and the next time she would tell the same fortune to Anna Cherniak, and back and
Who?
forth. It was the same kind of, we would call it above a mice, any kind of story. I don't know if we paid her anything, or if we
That's
gave
probably
her.
why
What
they
did she
told
tell
us
you?
the story.
What did she tell you? What did she
Oh, I don't remember.
well, who was William again?
My mother's brother.
Brother. So he came to America first.
Yes. Then,
Okay.
then Grandpa came, I guess, I don't know how,
Who's grandpa?
Zeta. I mean, if William brought him or what, I don't know. My mother came with Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
She
I
was
was
just
busy
a young
hitchhiking.
girl.
I didn't know too much about
But
that.
I'll tell you, Robin, there was so much tragedy. So many people died young and tragically that they didn't want to talk about what happened in Europe, really.
My mother
And
used
both-
to have such dreams at night. And I always worried that I would have bad dreams. But as Tibe said, she had so much, they were big families and they had a
But
great
she
deal of
cried out
love
in
for
her
one
sleep all
another.
the time.
And things
That's
happened.
Really terrible.
See?
You cried out in your
Oh,
sleep.
yeah.
Well, maybe she
One
thought,
time.
she thought she had doubled
But
somebody
what
in
was that
bridge.
big? I mean, you gave a real terrible,
It isn't very often.
I suppose, but this was really bad. At first, I wasn't going to go in the sea.
Gee, I had a funny dream last night.
Maybe it is.
There's this road, and there's this tremendous opening in the road, and the cars would go in underneath.
Is that when you got the ticket?
Yeah, I think you're
I
reliving
got
your
out,
ticket. Looking for the shit
and then
store,
somebody
not looking
else
for the
came
shit
along, and they went all around it. I have such very vivid
But
dreams.
you
Do
know,
you
really,
dream?
what happened that the police came? I don't know.
So where did your mother and her father settle?
And in the morning I
Yeah,
have
it
to
must have
read
been
it.
Tell
Providence.
them the little that you know.
And Ty,
About
where
Europe.
did they settle?
Where did your mother
Grandma-
and your grandfather settle?
Providence.
In Providence,
Providence,
Rhode
yeah.
Island.
Oh, in Providence, Rhode Island?
That had to
Well,
have been
actually,
a
it was a
big
very
mecca for
small.
Jewish people.
Really?
Stan's family were in
I didn't
Providence.
know
What did
that.
they do for a living when they got there?
Cigars.
Cigars.
More cigars.
But actually, wasn't
In a very
Carolina,
needy sort of way.
How
wasn't
did they
Carolina
support
that
My
way?
grandfather had a little house,
How did they support a family?
and
Cigars.
it was very narrow, it must have been about
How
25
expensive
feet
then?
wide, and it was 3 stories, 3 flights,
I never saw it. One room
Well,
on
I
top of
stayed
the
there.
other.
one on top of another.
And
Was that in
Providence?
Providence or Carolina?
They
Oh, I
lived in
think that was in
Carolina?
Providence.
That's a
Not-
small
not-
town in
no,
Rhode Island,
not
near
North
Providence.
Didn't you
I think
ever
they
go
were the
there?
only Jewish
Teddy went
family.
there.
I was
went.
I was so
don't
proud of
remember
them that they
for sure.
knew not to settle on the Lower East Side. I thought, how could they have been that smart?
They
Oh, well,
did
they
live
did
there.
live there for a
They
while.
did.
Mom and Papa lived there after they were
In the
married.
Lower East
Why would
Side?
they have been smart
Or the
enough?
Bronx?
Well, they didn't have a Brooklyn accent or a
No, no.
Lower East Side accent or anything.
My father was
He was a Texan.
no, that they were very comfortable.
Well, your father.
Oh,
Paul
yeah.
said,
They went into the
Stephen
retail
said he was a
business
real entrepreneur.
Wait, so how did your mother meet your father?
at a party. And my
In
father-
Providence,
No, in Portchester.
New York.
That's where Debbie's family came
Debbie.
from, in Portchester.
Who's Debbie?
Debbie,
Portchester,
Vanna.
New Rochelle.
Debbie Vandroff.
no,
This is the Tron and
This
the,
is Jewish geography. I love
Jewish,
lived
yeah,
in
her mother's
Portchester,
side.
Mrs. Zasarsky.
Oh, I thought, well, Harry came from New Rochelle.
Well, but Dorothy came from Portchester.
So they went to a party in
No, but you see,
Portchester.
My father's brother was already established. In fact, he was,
He was a millionaire.
how did they
Maybe
become
not
so
that.
wealthy? He was pretty well
was
to
a-
do.
he had a
They lived
tannery.
in one of those
Yes.
brownstone houses in New York where they had 2 living rooms and 2 dining rooms and any number of bedrooms.
What did he
They
do for a
did.
living?
Well, I'm not denying it.
What did
I
he
just
do for a
never
living?
knew.
I really
He had a
don't
tannery, I know
but
that
he was,
big. He had a
oh yes, he
tannery.
had a tannery, and I don't know, he was a very
Guess where
bright
they was tan hides.
man, a very handsome
Father's brother.
man. My father's
So was your
brothers
uncle?
were all very good-looking men,
So he was your uncle.
yeah.
But Stephen says, but I was named after Uncle Zalman. Was he
And he
a
was
nice
the
man?
least
And I
liked.
said, no.
He was the Ruth liked him.
Huh? I don't know what I called him, not more than crude. A very tough man,
No, he was very unhappy with his wife, Jenny.
which made him very tough and
And one
crude.
time, and they had a store there on Summer Street.
What kind of
And-
store?
A cigar store,
Cigar store?
obviously.
No, that was
No,
that's
it was a
different
grocery
So
store,
it was a good
but
question.
he was so ingenious that he had this property and he put up an apartment house
And it still
there
stands.
that's still there. People on that street sort of cursed him because he commercialized it. But anyway, he made enough money there to bring up his children.
Now, who was this?
Salmon,
Yeah,
one of the
Salmon.
Stevens named after.
But he and his wife, he used to call it Fiskudna.
No, Stephen.
Cognac?
Visconia.
He used to call what?
Fiskudna.
Well, that's what.
My mother didn't
But he
care
wasn't
for
very
it.
nice. He was pretty crude,
It's a
I guess.
bascunia.
Huh?
Fiskudna.
Fiskudna?
That was a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, just as you use your mouth, Fiskudna, you don't like something.
Visconia.
Huh?
That's what Grandpa used to call us.
Well, that was out of the
Polish.
question.
He knew.
Call it Polak or call it the Pashtudiak.
Remember?
Which grandfather?
All right, so go ahead
My
and finish.
grandfather,
Which grandfather?
Philip, her
Oh.
husband, yes.
How old were you when you did?
4.
No, I was 5. You must have been 1.
Oh, well, you were not 5.
I was 5.
remember
Larry
him.
was 5. You were 7.
I remember
Larry
him.
was 5.
I remember him calling me Paula the Polak.
Got you on that one,
What did he
Robin.
call you, honey?
Paula the Polak.
All right, going back.
Well, where were
I
they
don't
at?
remember. He sure loved you, though. You know.
Mom, where
We're
were
trying to
you
get to that.
born?
No,
What does that have to do
we
with
want to
that?
go back.
Was I born?
So born,
I was
and
born
Rob
in
was
the
in
Bronx.
But he used to go with chewing gum in his pocket.
And
Yeah, I
there,
remember that too.
my
Yes, he
father
gives it to
and
kids,
Lockwood,
to our
they were
kids,
very, very close. They were in business
Yeah.
with Lockwood. And
But I
they
remember
built
the
this,
chewing gum too.
Chewing, he
2
always had that.
tenement houses. How many floors was it? 4 or
Where?
5?
Where, in New York?
Yeah.
I never lived there.
Well, Aunt Charlotte, the
what
story
he
I hear about
said.
Aunt Charlotte is how when Grandma was pregnant with Aunt Tibe, how you wouldn't acknowledge it.
No,
How
Aunt
you
Ruth,
would.
Aunt Ruth.
Oh, Aunt Ruth wouldn't acknowledge. She didn't. I heard that you wouldn't acknowledge.
You, it was you.
What would she know? She's only 7 years older than me.
Right, that was the perfect.
How would she know what pregnant was?
No, it was Aunt Ruth was 16, and she